Nick Abrahams, welcome to the program.
Nice to be here.
Why did we see this sell-off in cryptocurrencies over the weekend?
So there's a number of thoughts around what happened. A lot of people think that it might have been the threat of regulation, but more likely it was really big whales who are holding very large crypto positions who sold out to do some profit taking. And we're seeing more of that because crypto's pretty thinly traded. There's only 18 million Bitcoin out there. And so if a whale decides to move 5 or 10,000 Bitcoin, that can have a significant impact.
A whale being a large holder.
A large holder, yeah, they're called whales, and they've been around sort of since Bitcoin started, and they're sitting on very large holdings. And so if they decide to move, then the market will follow them.
You mentioned their regulation as being one of the speculation points that even, I think it was the US Treasury Department was rumoured to be looking at clamping down. If authorities around the world were to regulate this asset, what would happen to it?
Well, it's a big if they do, but it will have an impact. If you look, there's different styles of regulation. So places like Turkey and India are looking to actually really clamp down on people's use of cryptocurrency. And then other countries, I think, will look more towards the anti-money laundering side, because there's obviously concern that all of the good work that's been done with Know Your Client and anti-money laundering with the banks over the last few years is now all completely undone by cryptocurrency.
We know that cryptocurrencies are extremely volatile. You only have to look at a day chart or a year chart for that. Is the asset overvalued, and is what we saw on the weekend the start of a correction?
No. So it all depends who you talk to. If you talk to crypto zealots, they talk about underlying fundamentals, which is curious because these assets don't have any underlying fundamentals. They don't have a business necessarily. But the belief is that we are at the start of a very long game for cryptocurrency, and this is really just a blip.
So just how mainstream do you think Bitcoin could become?
We saw really crypto go mainstream in October last year when PayPal announced that they would accept cryptocurrency on behalf of their 26 million merchants. And so that means that you've got a big organisation like PayPal effectively validating cryptocurrency. And so we've seen Visa follow suit, and now really it's coming deeply into the mainstream with other investment banks.
With respect to, Bitcoin being used on platforms such as PayPal and Visa, are people actually using it, and in what sort of proportions?
So it's not yet rolled out, but the announcements have been made, and they're actually working towards actually taking those sorts of payments. So we will see it over the course of the next year.
Is it liquid enough to do that?
Well, that's the problem particularly with Bitcoin, because as I said, there's very little free float in Bitcoin, so it's not a particularly good transactional asset, if you like. So Bitcoin should really be regarded more like gold. In fact, they call it millennials gold because the millennials have lost a bit of faith with central government when we've seen all the qualitative easing that's going on and the value of fiat currency, so the US dollar, etc., go down. The millennials are buying into Bitcoin, and it's like their gold. And so that's where we really see it. In terms of Bitcoin, think of that as gold. Other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum or Ether, that's more like a transactional cryptocurrency.
How are the traditional investment firms viewing these currencies?
Well, they've made an enormous about face. So, in fact, 3 days ago, Larry Fink, who's the CEO of BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager in the world, said that cryptocurrency could be a great asset class, and these are his words, that they are studying it, investing in it, and making money out of it. So if someone like BlackRock is involved in it, then we see the future as being relatively bright. And we've seen JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley also get actively involved. In fact, Morgan Stanley just recently became the first big investment bank to make cryptocurrency funds directly accessible to their large high net worth holders.
So finally, Nick, what does the future hold? You mentioned before you're looking at, Turkey is looking at potentially banning it. India is looking at legislation as well. What does the future hold for it, particularly for the skeptics out there?
There must have been an inflection point when someone stopped giving chickens and started paying in, US dollars, and there must have been a similar degree of skepticism around what did this really mean. I feel like we're at a similar inflection point here. So my personal belief is that digital currencies in 5 years' time will be absolutely standard, and that digital assets like cryptocurrency will form a part of most people's superannuation funds.
Okay. Nick Abrahams, many thanks.
Thanks very much.